Very good afternoon to you, a very good morning, or a very good evening to you. Wherever you are in the world, you are very welcome to Virtual Church, where we broadcast every week your requests of hymns, organ music, and of course we have a whole bunch of waffle. So, what did we start with there? Well, I think you all know what we started with, don't you? Crown him with many crowns. All 5 verses, and the tune is called Diadesmata. With the last verse there by Noel Rawsthorne, verbatim. Normally it's a bit of a hybrid of McVeigh and Rawsthorne, but that was all Rawsthorne. And more importantly, that has been a request, that was a request from Brad, who is in New York. So thank you very much, Brad. Looks like a lot of people have already guessed the organ. Yes, we are in London. We are in the beautiful church of St Mary Labora, and this is a really wonderful, fine organ actually. Very fond of this organ, and we'll be exploring it today. So I really hope that we are able to put it through its paces. Four organ pieces, at least 4, I think, and hymns. So as the screen says right now, you have the ability today to just move that camera back a little bit, because it looks like that camera that I'm speaking into now has been knocked and it's moved. Yes. Yeah, so you can request pieces if you like in the chat, but we can't promise that we'll play them all. Now the next one is a request from, let me get a bit of paper, it's from David. It's from David. And he has requested Rejoice the Lord is King. It's a very well-known hymn. We have this fairly regularly here on VC. However, he's been very specific about this arrangement. There's a little bit of extra excitement and an extra Handel, because this is obviously a tune by Handel. But the one we were so used to hearing from NEH omits some of the orchestration, if you like. This one has a bit more of it including descant, which I'm going to try to include in the final verse. So David has requested this. It's called Gospel, and as I've just said, it is Rejoice the Lord is King. Please do, I can see the chat going away nicely. I can see Josh, hello Josh, Greg, Brad, hi Brad, thanks for your request. Larry, Matt, Daniel, Don, Ray, Doug, and I've just gone off now to the bottom. And Craig, Delaney there, hello. Please do say hello in the chat. Please do introduce yourselves, and please do, of course, get involved. These VCs are so much better when you engage, because I can then engage with you. So do say hello. Let's have Rejoice the Lord is King. I actually rather like that. I'm going to keep that arrangement and use that addition, I think, when I play that in churches and various cathedrals. I wonder what people would say if I played the outro at the end. The organ to carry on after the last verse might be a little bit risky, because they would all assume that I've forgotten that we are on the last verse, miscounted, and therefore ploughing on to another verse, which is always highly amusing for anyone apart from the organist. Really highly embarrassing for the organist when that happens. Happy to say that that hasn't happened since I was at university. So I bet you it now happens. Luckily, I have a bit of wood here, so I can touch it and say it hasn't happened to me in about 10, 12 years. Thank you very much, David, for bringing that one to my attention. That's well worth getting to hear. I can see a couple of requests coming in. Tu es Peter. Well, we'll certainly consider it. What else have we had? Did we have Lord for the Years as well by someone up there? Story has asked for the beauty of the earth. Well, if we've got time, we'll see if we can get these hymns coming your way. Thank you very much, by the way, for your kind words about last night's organ album. Of course, the organ album in memory of the horrific events 20 years ago in New York. I think, despite the really quite sorrowful occasion, at the very least, you can say that the music written for these solemn occasions is very beautiful. So we started with the Vigil Fox arrangement of Come Sweet Death, Come Susa Todd by J.S. Bach. Very, very slow, like almost more than half the speed it should normally be performed or sung, but very, very effective. And I would say that the best performance of that is Virgil Fox himself playing it on the Wanamaker organ over in Philly. And that was the performance I used to base my own interpretation. But of course, the organ of Dudelange isn't quite as epic as the Wanamaker organ. In fact, I don't think many organs in the world are as epic as that. But anyway, I tried to get some of those really rich and big stringy sounds with the octaves and with the vox humana sort of singing away under the strings to really give it that fizz. So I hope you really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed putting the album together, and as I said, I think in the chat as it was being broadcast, I actually find doing that sort of thing easier because there is an emotion to respond to. If I'm playing something just for the sake of playing it, it's hard to find inspiration. But with last night's organ album, obviously the inspiration was the anniversary of the events. So when you're responding to that, it actually makes it easier to play. So it was really enjoyable. Okay, the next hymn, we had a request from Brad, who was in New York, so I'm not sure where David was. But the next one is it has coming from St. Vincent's Dog Home, which is down in Mexico, and also from Robert. Now the hymn is Come Labor On, and I gather it was Labor Day in America during the week. It's not something that we celebrate here in England, so I don't really know its historical context. So perhaps someone can put in the chat, maybe just about 20 or 30 words, so I can see it, read it as I'm playing. Tell me what Labor Day signifies, and then I'll be able to play it whilst realising what Labor Day is. So come labour on, who dares stand idle on the harvest plain? Requested by St. Vincent's Dog Home and Robert. It's good to hear, thank you Daniel for writing that, I was able to get most of it. It's good to hear that the working people get recognised. It's quite a big celebration, isn't it? Most people will be being thanked there. So thank you very much for requesting that. I love playing that hymn. I particularly love the ending, with the sort of the harmony in the words and the D flat there. It's just a really wonderful way to end each verse. Okay, where are we going to next? So staying in, we're actually, you may have noticed, but we're using the now infamous 1982, dyslexia, 1982 hymn book, which I played in its entirety last month. Yes, end of last month. So I know this hymn book rather well, although parts of it I think I was on autopilot, sleeping with my eyes open. 623 is, "Oh, what their joy and their glory must be, those endless Sabbaths the blessed ones see, crown for the valiant, to weary ones rest. God shall be all and in all ever blessed." 2 notes at the end. This is from Ben. Now Ben, this is a request for Ben, who made this request over a week ago, and very, very kindly. I don't know whether Ben's in the chat. I can't quite see his name at the minute. But Ben very kindly sent us a recorded introduction, and spent a long time sort of explaining why to use a hymn. So the problem was I played the right words. I didn't play the right words. You can't play the right words, can you? I played a tune with the correct words that could be sung to that tune. Unfortunately, the tune was incorrect. So we're going to rectify this today and play the correct tune for Ben Wallace. O quanta qualia. Qualia. I guess in Latin you pronounce all of those syllables. So o quanta qualia. It's been harmonised by John Dykes. Ben, I hope this makes up for our mistake last week. Ben, good to see you, and thank you. Hope that was okay for you. Let me answer this question. Do natives attend the prom during the summer as much as visitors at the time in the UK? I go to every... Yes, well, there's usually a lot of people who are holiday makers, who are tourists, foreigners, go to the prom. It's very, very much a worldwide experience. You know, I've been to proms many times before, and you always get a huge eclectic mix of people. That's one of the great things about it. Right, so 4 organ pieces today. First of which, there's a question come in.
He'd like to know what you're commonly using on the second manual. What registration?
Okay. Right. Commonly, I'm not sure really. Second manual up is. Let me show you. I need to look at my screen to make sure that I'm saying the right stops. So basically, this sort of sound here. Is 8-foot diapason, stops diapason 8-foot, with a principal 4-foot as well. But adding to that, you can basically bring the equivalent stops from the choir, which is the lower division. So a gedacht, a principal 4-foot, and the echo gamba. Bring that up to the great. And also, it gives it a bit more colour and makes it sound a bit richer. Bring that down the swell, so that's basically the mixture, the great, the principal chorus up to mixture we call it. So that's 8-4-2 and mixture. Bring that down to the great with the choir coupled up to the great. That's basically the sound which I'm largely using. So that's all 3 manuals coupled together to create that rich sound. English organs respond extremely well to manuals being coupled together. 4 manual organs, imagine that we had a 4th manual on top here, which we will do soon. That will be the solo division. We wouldn't normally couple that one down. We wouldn't normally, because solo division is called a solo division because it has a solo stops. So they're often voiced in a solo way. Does that make sense? However, the swell and the choir do couple nicely through to the great. So in combination with the great stops, you know, the great open diapason or the stopped diapason, you can bring the choir and the swell to that to create that English sound. Anyway, let's go on to a piece by Flor Peeters called Aria. This is actually originally a trumpet piece. I just saw Bobby somewhere. Oh, there she is. Oh, can you see her? There. Hello. Hello, Bobby. Very nice to see you. Now, where are you going to go? You're not going to work on the keys, I hope. I need to play this nice piece by Peeters, and she's jumped down. That's good. Okay, let's go on. This has been requested by Lawrence, who is one of our patrons. So, Lawrence, are you in? Please do give us a shout if you are in. And this one is for you. Yes, you saw Bobby on the chat, so that's good. Are the proms live only on iPlayer or archived? No, the proms are all on iPlayer. No. So the televised ones are on iPlayer. Not all the proms are televised, but they're all broadcast on Radio 3, BBC Radio 3. If you have access to BBC Sounds on your iPhone or perhaps on the website, you can listen to all of the proms back. I don't know how that works if you're out of England. You have to work it out. Anyway, leave that to you. Okay, let's now have this wonderful piece by Flor Peeters, his wonderful Aria. It's such a wonderful piece, that, and I think actually it requires a fairly versatile instrument. It would have been nice to have had an expression pedal on the choir, which is why actually you probably noticed on the first page I switched the sound around and had the swell, oboe and the bassoon 8 and 16 to have the expression. Here you go, you okay? All right, mister? Oh dear. Okay, so we're going to go into another hymn now, Lord Enthroned in Heavenly Splendour. It is a request from Julian, and it has come in, sorry, it is called St. Helen, the tune, and it's a request from Julian, one of our patrons. I need to find it in this hymn book. Yeah, the piece by Flor Peeters there does have a lot of accidentals in it, but they sort of move in parallel motion. You know, the added notes. They're not like Messiaen. Some of those chords and pieces by Messiaen are very, very hard to read, and you can only learn some of them by going down the muscle memory route. But with that piece, if you keep persevering with it, actually it's very playable. It actually is very achievable and works really well during a church service, whether that's before the service, just to set the scene nice and quiet, or during the communion, because it's quiet, and actually it's just the right length for communion. Has a good tune, so the congregation will like it. So I think you should persevere with it. So 3 more organ pieces. Actually, one of them isn't really an organ piece. There are 2 more organ pieces, and then a piece of music arranged for organ, basically. Okay, the next hymn, Lord Enthroned in Heavenly Splendour, for Julian. Sorry, I was just making sure. You saw me there getting a little bit distracted. I saw something in the chat. You know how much of a stickler I am for audio. Or distortion. No, there is no distortion coming from my end, at least. My levels are in the green. They're not going into the red. So the distortion, I'm not sure what that is. I think that might be on your side. Hopefully, it's not from my side. Just check the stream quality. Make sure you're 1080 60. That basically means 1080 resolution, full high definition, and 60 is frames per second. So actually, that's quite a high quality. And actually, a little bit of an insight for you guys. You know, I try to stream in as high quality as possible. Today we were in high definition, in HD, but occasionally I'm brave and go into 4K. The problem is with 4K, if I have more than 2 cameras going, I've got 2 GH5s and a GoPro on the pedal, for some reason the computer, the streaming computer, with 3 4K inputs going into the going through the USB, it can't really handle that, and it gets judder, and the frame rate reduces to about 15 or 20, which is not very good at all. So hopefully with a new computer on its way for Hauptwerk, it might give me an opportunity just to play around with and upgrade the streaming computer. And actually, I've just paid. No, I haven't just paid. I've actually got it for the same price, but I've upgraded our broadband connection to, and the geeks amongst you will know what this is, to a 1 gig download speed, 1 gigabyte, it's 1 gigabit download speed, which will give me a download speed of, well, I won't go into detail, it's very boring, but fast, and around about a 60 megabytes speed up. So that will allow us to stream in 4K with much more success, I think. So yeah, that's very exciting. I can't wait for that. Okay, I'm going to have now the next piece of organ music. It's the one which isn't actually an organ piece, but I'm going to play it on the organ. Well, there's no other option, is there? I haven't got anything else to play it on. But it's a piece by Vaughn Williams, Rafe Vaughan Williams, and it's from the 5 Mystical Songs, and it is The Call. Wonderful, wonderful movement. This is a request from Mark. I know Mark's in. He saw him chatting a moment ago. Mark, please do give us a shout. Let me know that you're still here, and we will play this piece, which is normally sung by a baritone. It's the penultimate piece, movement in the set. Come my way, my truth, my life, such a way as gives us breath, such a truth as ends all strife, such a life as killeth death. Very powerful and very poignant words by George Herbert, one of the great hymn writers. All of these movements are by words are by George Herbert. Famous last movement. Let all the world and every corner sing, my God and King. But we'll have the call today. Yes, YouTube can transmit in 4K. We have done 4K streams before, fairly regularly. You have to go back and find them. But with the right settings on 1080, the quality is almost as good. But I do like to broadcast it in 4K if I can. Okay, so here we go. The Call, it's called, and it's from Mark. Mark hasn't said hello yet, so I assume he's gone off. He's gone to get a coffee or something. Hopefully he'll come back later. It's the first time I think I've played that by myself without a very talented baritone singing it next to me. I suddenly thought as I was playing that through that, ooh, I haven't done this before. How am I going to bring out these the tune and the accompaniment at the same time? And I, of course, remembered on the second line, for those of you who know this piece really well, the piano part actually goes quite high, and I had the pedal 16-foot rumbling away. I thought, oh, I wish I hadn't had that on at the beginning. But wonderful, wonderful piece, isn't it? That all of these are just sublime. I think that my favourite is the previous one. Love bade me welcome, yet my soul drew back, guilty of dust and sin. The first movement is very popular. It's sung. It's called Easter, and it is often sung on Easter Day. Often sung as the anthem, even sung actually with the baritone solo and the SATB, a choir singing underneath. Rise heart, thy Lord is risen. With the wonderful accompaniment, a very colourful Vaughan Williams-esque accompaniment. It's wonderful stuff. Very fond of those. If you don't know them, 5 mystical songs, well worth checking out on a Sunday afternoon with a nice drink. It's just wonderful music, very uplifting. Jerry, thank you very much for your donation, and semicolon, thank you very much indeed. The good thing about having the chat on the screen on the music desk here is I can see exactly what's going on. So thank you very much for your donations just now. If you do feel like you appreciate these virtual treasures and are able to give a small donation, then it really is appreciated. So thank you very much. Right, on to another hymn now. O thou in all thy might so far. Those words are not familiar to me. That's why I sort of stumbled over them a little bit. 429. Let me see if I can get this feeling a bit more familiar to me if I see it. Yes, no. O thou in all thy might so far, in all thy love so near, beyond the range of sun and star, and yet beside us here. This is a request from Daniel. Daniel always makes requests. Very good to have such a loyal follower. So Daniel, it's very good to have you with us. Thank you very much for all of your for your support, sticking with us, and all of your requests. We could probably do at least a full virtual church made up entirely of your requests, Daniel. Perhaps one day we could do that. No promises. Gosh, no promises. I can't promise anything these days. I'm so busy. So let's have this hymn. The tune is called Crowl. C-R-O-W-L-E. Crowley or Crowl? You choose. 4 verses, and I would like to know, actually, I can see the chat, so I would like to know, you've heard a lot of organs here on BIS, haven't you? You've heard a lot of pipe organs, a lot of handwork organs, and there's so many more handwork and pipe organs coming your way over the months and years. I promise, lots and lots and lots and lots. I'm trying to do more pipe organs for you, recording our great English cathedral organs. I'd love to, over the coming years, be able to go around every single cathedral and have recorded it. There's a wonderful series, LP series on EMI, I think. Great cathedral organs. I think they went around every cathedral in the UK, is that right? Do they manage every cathedral? Possibly. I'd like to do the same. I'd like to go and record every cathedral organ. Possibly start with Church of England, Anglican cathedrals, and then promote onto the Catholic cathedrals as well, because there are quite a few of those around. Okay, so Daniel, here we go. O thou in all thy might so far. David, I entirely agree. It would be a really fabulous series, wouldn't it? All 42 cathedrals here in the UK recorded. The Patreons will know already, but I have potentially 3 more English Anglican cathedral organs appearing on Beauty and Sound before Christmas. Christmas is not long away. We're in September, aren't we? September the 12th. December is only 3 months away. Hopefully, they're guaranteed to have 2 more cathedral organs coming your way, and hopefully a 3rd as well. We're just in talks at the minute. Where else on YouTube can you find all of this content, this awesome content of cathedral organs? Also, I'd like to go to churches as well, of course. There are some wonderful churches. We are going to Lancing College Chapel later this month. There's a very nice organ down there in West Sussex. And other churches as well coming your way in virtual church. So there's a lot of organs coming your way, and I'm really, really excited to go and play them. And of course, I should say this, I've said it before, but I will keep saying it. It would not be possible without your support. I truly mean that. So if you can support me, I will bring you this amazing content of real organs. I've also got, and I won't mention this person's name, because it's not set in stone yet, but we potentially have the recitalist lined up for the inaugural concert on the new organ. Very, very excited. I'm pretty sure that the majority of you will have heard of this person and heard this person play. It could be a man, could be a woman. But I'm very excited. If that comes through, then yes, we're on to a winner with that one. So fingers crossed. More information on that very, very soon. Okie dokie. So let's have a couple of hymns which you've been requesting in the live chat. So it's good to actually play some hymns that you've been requesting live. So I think the first one that we can go to is, let's go to Jay and Pete, who requested my favourite hymn. And I'm going to use this hymn book and not my favourite hymn book. This is actually not a bad hymn book. It's not too bad. It has a lot of the really traditional hymns in here, but some modern ones as well. The only problem I would say with this hymn book is some of the harmony has been changed. Don't know why. I say changed, but different to here. I'm so used to these harmonies. Some harmonies in here are a little bit different, and some of the words have been changed. They've been modernised, and dare I say it, they've been politically corrected, which I don't necessarily think is always a good thing. But nonetheless, it is a very good hymn book. I'm very interested to see the new version of NEH coming out imminently, I think. I'm very interested to know what's in there. We will have it. I'll do an organ marathon, play the entire thing. So the next thing I'm going to play is Immortal Invisible, 676. And the reason why I'm playing it from this one is because the harmony hasn't changed, but there's a wonderful, wonderful last verse reharmonisation here by Barry Rose. And there's a descant on top, which I'll try to bring out. I'll probably play it just on the same manual. Thank you very much, Larry. And a pleasure for yesterday, a real pleasure and a real honour for me to do that. So you're very welcome. So Immortal Invisible, 4 verses, I wish there were more than 4 verses, of this wonderful tune, St. Dino, for, who's it for? It's for Jay and Pete. Regular listeners amongst you will know that Barry Rose is a little bit of a hero of mine. He was just a phenomenal and peerless choir trainer, particularly of boys' voices, young voices, chorister age. And the descant there, so I'll quickly demonstrate it. He does this. He goes, so it starts off. So same. But then he goes like this. 2, 3. And the only choir I think that would do that justice, like Barry's choirs would have done, is the choir at St John's, Cambridge. Really rich, mellow, mature boys sound. Barry was hugely influenced by George Guest. George was one of his influences, and Barry would mould his boys' sound on the sound that George Guest was getting at St John's at the time. And actually, it's amazing to hear that legacy being continued in the St John's sound that we have today. George Guest was replaced by Christopher Robinson, the incredible choir trainer, who was then replaced by David Hill, who was an organ scholar, or organ student, as they call it at St John's, under George Guest. And of course, David was replaced by Andrew Neffsinger, who was also an organ student under George Guest. So there's a bit of a legacy going on at St George's, and it's really wonderful. Okay, thank you very much, Craig, for that donation just now. That's really wonderful. Ben, yeah, he is very, very unassuming, but he's full of anecdotes as well, full of stories, and he's done everything, been all over the world, met everyone worth meeting, and he's just a really, really amazing person. So really, yeah. Anyway, let's go on. Lord for the Years has been requested today in the chat by, let me have a look down here, by David, and it's his birthday tomorrow. Interestingly, it doesn't say how many birthdays David has had so far. So we'll take a guess, shall we? I would say 34, 35, something like that. Okay, so Lord for the Years, your love has kept and guided. Wonderful words by the great Timothy Dudley Smith. And there is in this hymn book a little bit of a reharmonisation for the final verse by John Barnard, so we'll include that. Good to see Mark just appeared. You just got back from church. Absolutely fine. I guess, where are you in America? Probably is you're sort of coming home from church time, isn't it? Of the morning, time for your Sunday lunch. I played your Vaughan Williams earlier, by the way. You have to go back and yeah, I have talk about it a little bit afterwards as well. Hope you enjoy it. It was really nice to play. Josh, where's Josh's request? ELW. Now where's that? Oh, there it is. ELW. Josh has asked for. Crikey, this is a big hymn book. Heavy as well. He's asked for Rise, Shine, You People. Christ the Lord has entered our human story. God in Him is centered. He comes to us by death and sin surrounded, with grace unbounded. I don't know this one. Don't think anyway. 4 verses, and just thinking about a solo stop. What should we use? I'll tell you what we haven't had yet. We haven't had the cornet on the grate, so that's the middle manual. Let's have that along with the stopped diapason, accompanied by the stopped diapason on the choir and a bit of a fluty on the swell. So that'll give us a chance to learn the tune. Oh, 60th birthday. Well, congratulations. That's quite an age. I'm not quite there yet. A couple of years behind you. Won't be long though. Yes, it certainly is it's heavy. It is very heavy, isn't it? I don't know. Is that an American sort of turn of phrase? Something's heavy. Whoa, that's heavy. Have I heard that on a film or something? But it's physically heavy. I want to drop it. Anyway, let's stop waffling on about how heavy the hymn books are, and let's play the tune 4 times through. Keith, the broadcast on Saturday is always 7:30 UK time. So obviously now that will change on where you are in the world. But if you just do a quick Google search on time zones. I am currently in BST, British Summer Time, and then for the first half of the year, we then change our clocks and we go into GMT, which is Greenwich Mean Time. So Greenwich is basically part of London. So we have GMT and BST, and we sort of flip between the two. But we go live at 7:30 BST currently. And I always put a placeholder online, placeholder being the thumbnail prior to the event, the broadcast. If you click on the video, the placeholder, YouTube will always tell you your local time, what time it goes live. And it will always say live in 8 hours, 9 hours, or 48 hours, or whatever it is. So I wouldn't worry. Just have a look at the placeholder. I always put them on in advance, and it will tell you. Now, sort of a quiz, pub question. I mentioned about this Josh's hymn and Josh's hymn book here being heavy, and something rang in my own mind. That sounds really familiar. There is a film. There is at least one film as part of a trilogy, and where a character in the film keeps referring to something as heavy, and an older character in the film questions this younger person. Why do you keep calling things heavy? Has the gravitational pull been changed in the future? That's a bit of a clue. So do you know what film I am talking about? Surely you do. Larry has asked for Abbot's Leigh. We should have that one, shouldn't we? It's one of the greats. Actually, before we have, I think, our final couple of hymns, let me fire up the iPad and play something for Steve Richer. Steve, are you in? Please do shout if you are in. I'm going to play something for you. Steve Richer, hello, calling Steve Richer. We're going to play a piece by Herbert Howells. What's always interesting, I just occasionally glance over to my left, over here, just in between the camera and the organ is the computer screen, just where I can just keep an eye on things, make sure we're still online, making sure the cats haven't taken us offline. And I can see how many people we've got watching. At the minute, we've got 210 people watching and 93 likes. Hint. What's really interesting to me is when I'm playing hymns or organ pieces, if I glance over, it's gone down to 208 now, so 2 people have switched off. Yeah, glance over to see how many people are watching at any time, because some hymns, you'll see the numbers go down, or play a couple of really good, hard-hitting, good hymns, and the numbers will stay where they are, or they'll go up, and then they'll drop down again. It's really interesting to see that sort of curve. The 206, so 4 people have switched off. I think they're bored of my waffle. But we're going to play a piece by Herbert Howells, his first organ rhapsody in D flat. This is one of my favourite organ pieces, and I think it's one of Steve's as well. I think Steve's gone off to get his tea. He'll have to watch back later on. So I want to see how many people, how many concurrent viewers, as they're called on the screen, we are at the end of this Howells. I'd like you very much to listen to this piece. It's very, very wonderful. Starts off very quiet, very ethereal, and has a wonderful crescendo towards the middle, and then dies back down towards the end very quietly. So this is Rhapsody number 1 in D flat by our favourite Herbert Howells, and I want to see concurrent viewers no less than its current number. Oh, it's gone down to 205. It was 210. Now it's gone down to 205. Stop clicking away. Stay, please. Anyway, let's go on. Herbert Howells. such a wonderful piece. Such a wonderful piece, isn't it, that? Howells wrote that when he was quite young, so 2000. He wrote it in 1915, and he was born in 1892. So he was actually fairly young, fairly early on in his career when he wrote that. Very early in his career, 23, wasn't he? Oh, hang on, no, it's 1930. Does that say 1913 or 15? I think it says 1913, actually. So, yes, wow. I think I thought it was 1915, but I think it's a dodgy printing splodge. It's 1913. All right, so we'll have two hymns. And the final voluntary, which you know is on the screen. The first of these final two hymns, let's go to a request from Larry. Tune is called Abbot's Leigh. So I think you probably will all know what it is. I think this is 185 in NEH. I think I just know that already. It is 185. And what we will do, we'll go to this pink hymn book here, and we'll fire up Abbot's Leigh in here to see what old Noel has done with it. It's number 1 in the hymn, but in the volume. Make sure it's in the right key. There it is. So Josh, I'm really happy that you love this hymn. Me too. There are 42 cathedrals total in the UK of all denominations. It'd be good to record them all, wouldn't it? That would be really terrific. Katrina, thank you for your donation earlier as well. That's great. The best salmon ever, Richard Noling. Well, I've missed something there, haven't I? Are you talking about sermons? Are you? Oh, salmons. Yeah, sermons. Sometimes I'd rather be listening to a salmon preach than a sermon. Anyway, depends who it is. Let's have this wonderful hymn. By the way, I looked over and we're at 212 when we finished the Howl, so I think you liked it. Thank you for sticking around. It really makes me feel very happy when you stick around. It's always good when we get over 200. Makes it so much more fun. There's so much more engagement as well. A lick and a promise. That's how Nala, that's her sort of a pinky promise, isn't it? Okay, here we go. So, Sing We of the Blessed Mother to the wonderful tune Abbot's Leigh by Cyril Taylor. I don't know what's going on with you guys. Some very fishy jokes coming over in the chat. It smells a bit fishy, if you ask me. Yeah, well, I can see it's just reminiscent of the final hour of the organ marathon where it just sort of got a little bit out of control. Thank you, Riv Jonathan. Actually, rather a lot of fun, that one, wasn't it? With that sort of very naughty last verse by Noel. Some of these are quite restrained. I often say that they're more effective when you don't stray too far from the original harmony. That one didn't go too far from the original harmony, I suppose, but it was quite outrageous. Good fun. I can imagine a full church, a full cathedral singing that. Okay, so cod is great. Oh, that's frightful, isn't it? That's just terrible. Eddie, you're floundering. I've been floundering around for years. I flounder. On VC, I'm floundering. Our final hymn then, before we go into the Mendelssohn. I'll get the Mendelssohn ready, actually, so we can go straight into it. Great title, isn't it? War March of the Priests. It's always a bit of a tongue-in-cheek moment when you play this at a church. Makes you wonder what the clergy think the subliminal message is from the organist when this one comes out. War March of the Priests. But before we get there, we've had a request. Which is coming from Drew. I've not seen Drew's name. Drew, please do shout up if you are still in the chat. I don't have any more information than Drew. Drew, you asked for Abide With Me, Fast Falls the Eventide. So you guys know how I play this. I actually play this in a really positive way. I think that the message in this hymn, to me at least, is a very positive message, a very reassuring message, and it makes me feel happy and reassured. So if I feel like that, I want to be joyful and uplifted. So that's how I play it. We start it fairly quietly, of course, and we explore some of these words, so we can word paint. Verse 3, I need thy presence every passing hour, but what thy grace can foil the tempter's power. Verse 4, where is death's sting, where grave thy victory? I triumph still if thou abide with me. Ills have no weight and tears no bitterness. So wonderful, wonderful words. I think some of the greatest words in all of the hymns. So this is our final hymn, and then we will go straight into the organ voluntary, which is a lot of fun. It's War March of the Priests. So abide with me. Eventide, requested by Drew. Thank you very much, Drew, for suggesting this. I think it's a good way to end today, and actually appropriate for this weekend's remembrance and solemn feeling. So I think we should all actually just take a moment to reflect on what happened 20 years ago and how it's changed the world, and also what's happening over in Afghanistan now with Kabul. It is a very sad situation, and we just don't know what will happen there. So take a moment just to think about that and possibly reflect and maybe offer a little prayer about the situation. Abide with me, fast falls the eventide. The computer got a little bit overwhelmed there. proved too much for the computer to be able to handle. All of those sort of the tremolo effects at the beginning, which there was basically a lot going on and the computer couldn't keep up. It's one of the reasons why we need to possibly get the new computer when the new organ arrives. We don't want to be having that when the new organ arrives, and when these international organists come and give recitals and it starts to clip like that. So that would be the worst thing in the entire world. It'd be highly embarrassing. So there we are, going to draw a close to VC today, right there after that Mendelssohn. And how would you follow that? You know, morning is broken or something? How would you follow that? You can't possibly follow that, can you? Thank you very much for chatting away. Thank you, Terry. Wonderful way to finish indeed. I wish you a wonderful week too. Gerrit, that was an impressive school of fish. I think I need to go back and listen to what on earth you guys have been talking about today. I think it's all about fishing and trout and Nala's sermon about salmon. Well, yes. Marsha, you are very, very welcome indeed. Good chappy, organ has broken. Yes, indeed, good one. Richard, no, thank you for joining in. You're very welcome. Michael, great, thank you. Well, thank you, everyone. Dennis, Jerry, yes. Good chappy. He comes out with some good ones, doesn't he? Some good one-liners. It's quite quick. Greg, thank you very much for joining in. Daniel, in fact, just before we do sign off, how many have we got? 221. Just all give me a quick shout out, and I will try to say goodbye to each and every one of you. So here we go. So Smooth Silk, cheerio. Pixel Bell, goodbye. Carolyn, thank you very much for your claps. Doug, bye-bye. Mark, I hope you enjoyed your Vaughn Williams. Rev J, big smile down from down in Australia. Barry Ford, great from San Francisco. Well, good to have you with us. I like your trams. Ralph, thank you. You're welcome. Yeah, going up the hill. You know. David Fletcher. Well, I'm not sure what that too was about. Steve Martin, cheerio. Matayu, goodbye. James D. Martin, you're the best. You are the best, James. Maffett, good afternoon. Thanks so much. Welcome. Marty M. Bravo. David Wright. Can we have a cat camera? I don't know where they are at the minute. Cheryl, cheerio. Thank you for your comments last night as well. Mum, hi. Bye-bye. We'll speak soon. Ben, got your request in now. Michael, loved your thingy. David, I'm missing out now. Gideon, Bill, Jenny Allen, Jezza, Chris, hi Chris, Christine, Mary Mouse, Ogle Haas, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. James, Michael, Dad, hello Dad, Judith, Lloyd, Dennis, and so on. I'm going to, gosh, I can't quite keep up with everyone. It's amazing to see though, isn't it? It's really wonderful. Tim Woods, hello. Jay, well, I hope you have a good week too. JPBAMA, take care and thank you, Richard. Eddie, we'll see you next week, Eddie. Jean, bye-bye. We'll speak soon, Jean. Ebibs, Martin. This is very tedious for you, isn't it? It's rather fun for me. Until next week, next Saturday is the Marcel Dupré, Le Tombeau de Titelou's 16 organ chorales based on, he calls them liturgical hymns, but I don't know what a non-liturgical hymn would be, to be honest with you. Hymns and on plain song. Caroline is going to sing all of the plain song and the hymns prior to each chorale, so it'll be nice to hear the chorale played, sung and then played by Dupré, or composed by Dupré, played by me, you know what I mean. Saturday is that one. Friday is the next instalment of the Friday Music Relay, the third leg now. It's a piece by Pierre Cochereau, an improvised toccata which has been transcribed by Jeremy Filsell. It's from his what is now called the Boston Symphony, so look out for an upload on Friday for that. And of course Sunday is another VC. So until next weekend, hopefully I'll be able to get some stuff on in the week as well. We will all say cheerio. Take care everyone, good night. And do you want to say good night, Hugo? He's got his, he's a bit indecent. He's got his nappy here. It's hanging out. You don't want to see his nappy. He's gone shy. All right, well, I'll say bye and see you next week. Take care, everyone. Goodbye.